Hey, what's going on, everybody? Video 44, early in the morning, talking what I talk. All right, so I want to just kind of speak about just the notion of something that's floating around and has been floating around um, for as long as time, and that's the notion that allegations are often understood as fact, depending on the circumstances and the people supporting it in agreement with one another. That's really what I'm seeing in a lot of situations. I don't want to necessarily get specific because I think it applies to a lot of different things, but I just think that we're in a time. Sorry, I'm trying to get warm, as I often do. It's warm. This apartment is a little chilly right now. But anyway, what often happens and what I often observe and see is that a lot of times, depending on how emotional the subject may be for a lot of people, people tend to not to want to hear rebuttals or want to hear anything that doesn't go along with what it is that they're passionate about in a situation like, where allegations are brought up. Sometimes it can be racially charged, sexually charged, and just, you know, it puts a situation where it triggers a lot of people, right? It can bring about a lot of emotional responses, and people tend not to think too much when they're emotional. I just feel like a lot of us, with our cancel culture and with how we tend to uh, react when people are facing allegations, we need to evolve dramatically in that way. And we need to understand why that is necessary. We must know that it is very possible for allegations to be true. It's possible. Someone could do something and someone else could get the courage to speak out. And every time that happens, we need to give a clear and concise listen to those allegations and try our best to be sensitive to the mental health of the alleged victim. And we then need to make sure we have all that we need in terms of proof and a clarity about our personal selves so that we can retain the information, make sound decisions that aren't based on fiction or emotion, and come to the conclusion we should so that fairness can be felt. Because an artist like myself can take a pen and pad and write you up an amazing script. And I always say this, same thing goes for politicians and things that come out of people's mouth. I am an artist who can do a lot of things with words, and I can write you an amazing script that you will believe, alleging something that isn't true. And if we apply the logic that we apply to some of these situations, whoever it is I'm accusing gets canceled, goes to jail, and no one will question anything. You must understand that even if I personally am not capable of making you understand something like that or making you believe something like that, the fact of the matter is someone can, especially when it's emotionally or racially charged. I can make it so that you don't ask no questions. This is what happened. That person's a jerk. They look like a jerk. Everything they've done up until this point is jerkish because I've chosen them. They're a patsy. So I'm going to make sure that my story can tie all ends. You see what I'm saying to you? This is possible. And because it's possible, we need to guard against it. And look, if you are one of those people who jump to certain conclusions, you may have suffered some things where something happened to you, and now you believe that everybody who looks like that will do something, or if you believe that, you have a something to you that makes it so that you don't have any tolerance for certain topics. You need to recognize that in yourself and remove yourself from circumstances like this, because you can't help the situation. You're too biased. Too biased. Your circumstances will not allow you to objectively look at all the facts and come to a proper conclusion. And that's the problem with a lot of people. They lack self-awareness in regards to a lot of things, but when it comes to situations like these, they're so adamant. And while in some cases, they may be barking up the right tree, for sure. Sometimes your intuition is exactly what it is. And other times, you're reading a script created by a guy like me, who's good at making sure that I pick the right patsy and tie up all the loose ends. And you know what? That person's going to get all kinds of treatment they don't deserve. And it's going to be on the backs of people like you who didn't see through it and didn't ask questions, nor questioning yourself about whether or not you should be removing yourself from that conversation. Because you're biased. You won't be able to come to an objective conclusion based on your experiences. You can't look at these two subjects clearly because of your experiences. You can't look at them objectively and say, yeah, it's possible this didn't happen, even though it lines up in such a way that looks good. You're not able to see the angle of those creating the narrative. And here's the part that makes it very important. You are being taken advantage of. Your biases, your emotions, your trauma and experiences, or the trauma experiences of your loved one of whom you've taken on the love and emotion of. Yeah, someone, the script writer, me, the guy who wrote the script, he's exploiting that. He's toying with your intellect, toying with your emotions, and herding you like a sheep in a direction that fits the narrative that person has. The narrative that punishes someone undeserving. And when we jump to those conclusions to cancel people before we have that information and deem them canceled, when we do that and don't have all the facts, good people, or even people who probably may be deserving of getting backstabbed, because who knows, right? People are energy you put out. But the point is, people who are not guilty get condemned and take on the punishment of all the condemnation deserving for someone who did those acts. And the person who wrote the script, me in this case, I get away with it to do it again. Somebody else. Maybe you. See, a lot of us be sitting around thinking, oh, this is outward information. This is what's happening over there. This ain't in home. This isn't hitting home for me. That's over there. I'm watching it like I'm watching my phone right now. It's not real. But if we continue to allow people to do this, eventually it's going to hit home. Eventually someone in your life, or maybe someone you support, or maybe even yourself, may be faced with allegations too that look perfect, that are written by somebody who's very, very manipulative, very intelligent, who could tie all loose ends and make it look like you really did that. Maybe even got a network of people in agreement with him or her to blackball you, to get you fired, to get you thrown in prison, or worse, having done nothing to deserve that other than getting on the wrong side of that person who could write that damn script. Don't y'all see the fruit of what it is that I'm saying? Even those who can't see past being biased for whatever the circumstance may be, even those who truly believe in whatever it is that's going on, and fact of the matter is, may be right. All of us need to see the fruit in what it is I'm talking about. Because what we're doing is condemning the maybe innocent or guilty, and letting those who write the script, the manipulators, the blackballers, those who are doing this unjustly, those who have their own agenda, the real bad guys, they're getting away with it. It's just like when you go after somebody who didn't do it. You put away the wrong guy, guess who's free? The one who did. This isn't harmless. Even if we don't like the person they're blackballing for reasons that don't have nothing to do with this. Let's say, hey, that person did something they really shouldn't have did. So somebody on the other end is coming back around and getting them in this way. We still should not co-sign that. That type of devious behavior, that ain't how you punish somebody. Because what it does is reinforce the behavior forward. You want to frame this guy, we're going to frame that person next, going to frame that person next, going to frame that person next, and eventually you're going to frame me. Allegations come up, frame you, and you're going to have a whole fleet of people just like you who are emotional about the subject, who all the moving pieces of the alleged subject triggers their emotions and triggers their most inner. And they're going to hate you with the same flurry of hatred that they hate whoever did whatever to them. And guess what? You didn't do nothing but piss off somebody that now has the technique to write that script and exploit that pain to get you out of here. So yeah, no, that's what I wanted to say, because I see a lot of that. I'm hearing about celebrities getting blackballed, celebrities getting fired, regular people getting fired for allegations, sometimes true, sometimes not. But the common person who's watching as a spectator needs to be responsible with their opinions and how they express those opinions without all of what you need to see facts. All of what you need to know, not believe, not agree with someone else who doesn't have the facts just like you, not apply what you've gone through and that person's gone through and say, yeah, this looks like that, this is what it is. Because remember, a person like me who can write that script, I can make you see those angles. I will pick a patsy that'll make it look like you don't have to ask any questions. If you see something like that and there's no questions to be asked, but there's also no evidence, chances are you got a script writer behind it. That's the signs. Those are the signs. Why? Because they're going to do everything they can to see every angle. And if they're good, they're going to make it so that you don't ask any questions. That's it, man. That's it. That's it. And if you're having a hard time seeing examples, I'll find you one. Go outside, find a black dude with some head tattoos, said he robbed me. Man ain't robbed me, but he robbed somebody else in the past, or he looked like he robbed somebody. And he was at where I said he was at, because I made sure I was there and he was there at the same time. You see what I'm saying? Pretend you... That's not it. Look at it as if this. Circumstances, situations can be manipulated, especially by people with a lot of power and a lot of money. They can hire people to make things look a certain way, to be in certain places at a certain time, to maneuver the environment to fit the frame. Framing. They can do that. And even though we're not aware of all that people can do a lot of times on this level, we must be able to at least imagine the fact that they can. Because people do in fact get framed. It does happen. So let's just reel that in. It's okay to feel what you feel, but it's very, very responsible of us to know when we don't have information and evidence and facts. Because emotions can be manipulated, circumstances can be manipulated, and people get blackballed for reasons that don't have anything to do with what they're being accused of. And we need to be able to imagine that as a possibility. That's all I'm asking all of us to do. My name is BDF44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.